Hello everyone and welcome to episode 64 of Competitive Magic with the Karnies. I'm your host from Italy, Andrea Mengucci, and joining me we have as always Javier Dominguez from Spain.
Hello everyone.
And Anthony Lee from Australia.
Hola.
Okay, the Karnies are back together and this episode is going to be a special one. It's our year in review episode. We're going to go over memory lane, what happened in 2023. We had a fantastic year for the Karnies with multiple Pro Tours top 8 by Javier and Worlds top 8 by Anthony. And overall, it's just a great year all around, even in, personal stuff, content creation and everything from my side of you. I'm going to ask 4 questions. And we're going to get each probably different answers, maybe not, we will see. And the questions will be favorite card, best deck we played, best memory, and finally, what to improve for the year 2024, which is beginning in very few days. So yeah, this is how we're gonna go. Do you guys like this plan?
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a good plan. Also, it's been a good year. I mean, remember where we were 1 year ago? We were like, I think it was me and Anthony qualified for one PT and you were not qualified to anything, and suddenly we played like multiple events, and for the next PT we're all 3 qualified, and I think it's been definitely a very good year in terms of Magic.
You kind of breaks my brain.
In terms of that was great, for sure. We also had, of course, Anthony winning, I didn't say that, winning the first regional championship. I guess that was last year. It was 2022.
Mm-hmm. It was at the end of the last year, yeah.
Okay. That's correct. But definitely a fantastic year gameplay-wise with some very important domination in various tournaments that we're going to try to kind of go over today. Maybe we can even kind of like go over the 4 main events that happened, right? Pro Tour New Phyrexia, Pro Tour March of the Machine, Pro Tour Lords of the Ring, and finally the Worlds in Las Vegas. But yeah, let's kick things off with the goals that, we set at the beginning. Favorite card. So I guess I'm going to go first as a host of this podcast, and I'm going to choose my, not my pet card, but definitely a card that I discovered and I was super happy to play in this particular event at LMS Sofia, which is, not as big deal as the Pro Tours or anything like that, but discovering Questing Druid and bringing it to Modern has definitely been one of my greatest achievements of the brewing in 2023. Because, I, as everyone in Magic, love to brew, but I don't do it quite often, and it was super fun to come up with this card in a deck that was, completely discarded by everyone, the Blue Red Murktide. But yeah, thanks to Questing Druid, I was able to fight through the scam matchups, and just overall, it was a fantastic. It's just so fun when you play a card and your opponent doesn't know what it is, and you have to explain what it does, and they often don't counter it, and you resolve this thing, you gain huge card advantage, and you win the game because of that. And this is definitely something that, we don't get to enjoy too often in competitive Magic, because almost everyone knows your cards nowadays. So yeah, it was definitely a super cool experience, and I also remember Anthony talking about this card for standard testing, right?
Yeah, we did. It was it has a lot of potential, It hasn't quite broken out yet. It does see a little bit of play. It hasn't broken out yet, but it's got some time, especially with the longer rotations. I'd be very surprised if I didn't end up casting this card a bunch.
Yeah, and this card also sees a lot of play in Legacy. I remember Javier trying this card actually before I played it in Modern, and so yeah, super happy to find out about this card. It's definitely my favorite card of 2023. All right, what about you guys? Continue.
Okay, I guess I'm next then, because that's the order we have in our Discord call, so let's go with that. I guess, my favorite card would be Chandra Hope's Beacon, I think. And for me, I would also really connect that to a specific tournament, which was Pro Tour March of the Machine in Minneapolis. So, Chandra itself is just a really fun card. It hasn't really been the case that Planeswalkers, or especially expensive Planeswalkers, have been very good for a long time, and Chandra does buck that trend. and it's a card that sees play in multiple formats, so that's nice. But I'm really picking this card because I associate it with this particular Pro Tour where it was just really rewarding, I guess. Like, obviously our team had an incredibly dominant performance, one of the most dominant team performances in Pro Tour history, I think. With just after Swiss first, second, third, fourth, it's completely wild, and our house win rate was also incredible. But yeah, and the Chandra was like pretty common, but the Chandra light up the night thing was something that only we had, and something that I figured out in testing, and it was a bit uphill, right? Because light up the night is kind of a horrible card in general, and hadn't seen any play leading up to now, and Chandra being printed meant that old card became good, and being able to fit this kind of card, being able to find this kind of card that was like kind of obscure and was now actually good and served an actual purpose in the deck was it was really fun. It was really interesting. It was really rewarding. And it wasn't even just that about the deck, right? Like it's not like I like the deck just because it has this, but the whole, like, when I think of these cards, I think of the process that led us to this deck and led to us being able to play this deck so well. And yeah, I'm very proud of our work for that Pro Tour, and that's what Chandra means to me, I guess. So that's why I picked that card.
It was the Anthony combo for the PT. Like, at the beginning, it looked like one of these, because Anthony does breed a lot, sometimes he has like these wild cards or whatever. But this time, the Anthony combo just went all the way into all of our decks.
Yeah, I remember playing against Carl Sarup, first round of Constructed at this PT, being incredibly ahead with my Grixis deck and just dying out of nowhere to this combo that I heard somehow Nathan was talking about this at the other side of the table, as I guess he was explaining it to his opponent as well, and just receiving it just a few moments later, it was definitely an experience. And then the next day I ended up playing this card because you personally lent it to me, because obviously nobody amongst the vendor had Light Up the Night, so I was able to almost qualify at the PTQ with Javier's deck. How did you end up doing in this top 8? I don't remember.
I lost in quarterfinals because that's what I do, partly.
Oh, to David Olsen?
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Yeah.
It was, I got Italy into Atraxa.
Yeah, and then obviously Nathan Stoyer went on winning the Pro Tour against Kane Reinhardt. So yeah, definitely a great choice. I mean, fantastic dominance. First to fourth with same thing as my question, like a card that people had to read because, well, nobody knew this card. I mean, maybe somebody knew it, but it's still like it's a PT, so you have to double check it, right? So you show the deck list to your opponent goes, what's this card? And you have to show it to your opponent. And that to me is something, that get a very good feeling, I think.
And this one is so jarring, right? Like, there were a bunch of spots where my opponent was on exactly, I made like some ridiculous attack with them at 14, and then I just show them a Chandra and Light of the Night and say 14, and they're like, what? It's just it's so dramatic. It's a card with some flair.
That's definitely true. And yeah, so what about you, Javier? What was your card of 2023?
Well, I think my favorite card for 2023 is the One Ring. I think it's a card that's very it's also, it's obviously very powerful. I mean, all the cards in this list are powerful, but it's also a card that I felt it was very hard to read in terms of like what it meant in terms of deck building. Like, even now, if we build a 4-color deck in Modern, for example, or even on Legacy, all these up the beanstalk control decks, it's not obvious whether the One Ring is good enough or very good in a deck like that, right? And I love this. I think that a card this good is actually not easy to fit into decks, and not easy to say, like, I'm going to play 3, I'm going to play 2, I'm going to play 4, which is the case of Legacy. And I think this presents an extremely interesting puzzle in terms of deck building, and I love that about Magic deck building. So for me, this one gets the trophy of the best card.
It's like,
and of course, this card is, go ahead, Anthony.
It's such an interesting card that, like, it's somehow both extremely good and extremely overhyped. Like, that's kind of awesome, right? Again, it speaks a lot to the depth of Magic, that it's powerful yet like extremely misunderstood. I think that it's a lot of fun that way. And I mean, like when it was first spoiled, like people were not excited at all about this card, right?
Sounds
Like,
familiar,
people-
right? It
Yeah,
sounds familiar because there was one for drop last year also, which, all these things you said now could be the same
Yeah.
for one card cost for last year.
That's true. Yeah.
What do you mean, sorry?
Shieldred, I mean, everything Anthony said now, he said it about the One Ring, but also he could have been saying this about Shieldred.
It's
If this
actually
was
true.
2022.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like extremely powerful. It's extremely misunderstood. It's overhyped, and like people didn't really understand it when it first came out. Like that is also ultra Shieldred, and yeah, to me and probably also to Javier, like it represents a lot of what we love about competitive Magic and how complex it can be under the surface. I think. Yeah. Anyway, go back. You can go back to schedule.
Yeah, no, I was just saying that this card is obviously tied to your memory of Pro Tour Lord of the Rings, where once again you ended up first in Swiss. This time it was modern, so yeah, you're playing Mono Green Tron, a deck that was completely revolutioned at this Pro Tour by your team, and yeah, coming up with only 1 Chromatic Star, 3, where is it, Sylvan Scrying, 2 Urza Saga. Yeah, this deck that now we know as it is was completely different, like maybe like 10 or more slots different than the one that Christian Calcano played at the same PT. So it was very cool event to analyze after, and definitely one that made a huge impact in the modern format. That we don't know it as it is anymore, as Fury got banned since that one. So definitely I love the history of Magic, and Pro Tour Lord of the Ring Barcelona will definitely be a pillar of that, since yeah, a lot of things happen in this one.
For sure.
Yeah, no, nothing. I just think there's something to say.
No, but it's true. Like this card was good in that deck, but for me, the depth of the ring, it's similar to Shieldred, really, where the card can be fit in so many different decks. Like obviously, ring is good in Tron, but it's also it was supposed to be good in 4-color control as well. But also it was good in Breach. Like it's a multi-archetype card. Like you can play it in very different decks, like Amulet, or the Breach or whatever. But it's also never obvious if it's gonna be good or not, because I remember us struggling to decide whether the ring was better than other things in some decks, like control or level way control, and that's what I like about it.
Yeah, definitely. And now we see the ring in Veers for Coro Control deck, but I guess not the best time right now for them.
Nope.
All right, let's continue the
Questionary.
Let's continue the list. All right, so we have the best deck we played. Okay. The best deck we played. All right, I'm still thinking about that one. What about you guys? Go first, Anthony. What do you have?
Well, I think me and Javier are just going to have the same answer, which kind of makes sense because we played the same decks at every event this year. And actually, wait, also probably we played the same deck every year for the last I don't know how many years. So for us, it's got to be Tron, I think. I don't know. This was really like I'm not going to say revolutionary. It was an evolutionary deck, right? Like, and it felt like we really had something on the field. Like I think we had a phenomenal result in the previous Pro Tour with Rakdos midrange, and that was good, and we had like a slightly better version, but I think the way that we had Tron was actually, it's kind of what you think about when you think about someone like coming up with it, like a new version of a deck, or really tuning a deck. Like, I think our high win rate in the previous PT was just because, I mean, that's just standard. Like, if you have a better version of a deck and you play it better, then you can achieve a higher win rate in that format. But what we did in Modern, I think, is probably more impressive, I think. And it really involved, like, because, in Standard, like, the context always changes, there's a new card, like, maybe we have to rebuild things. But Tron was actually just, like, having to go against so many entrenched ideas, and that was difficult. And we also had to conquer that ick factor, I mean, it's not nothing. There's a reason that a lot of players might be hesitant to register Tron because of certain preconceptions about the deck in various competitive events, right? So, yeah, I think this was...
Luck deck.
Luck deck. Yeah, no, that's it. That's exactly... I can't believe I didn't think of that. Yeah, like, people think of it as a luck deck and don't want to play it, or, things like this, and I think, yeah, it was a really impressive choice, I think. This was maybe... for us, I think this is the best. I don't know, Javier can probably elaborate more. He was really the driving force behind this deck, I think. Or this build of the deck, I should say.
Well, yeah, for me the answer is clearly Trump because I actually said it before we played the PT.
He did, yeah.
Yeah, I said like, wow, this is the best deck I've played like in a PT in many years. So it will be weird if I go now like, yeah, it goes bad, and because I also made top it, which actually obviously helps shaping my perception of the tournament. But I really think this was the best deck of the year for me, at least, like from my perspective. I mean, because yeah, it's what Anthony said. Like, we did better in Minneapolis, but it's also like if you have a very good team with a good deck in a standard, where the gameplay is basically the most important thing. Like, I think the games are played in a way where they open so much, but in modern, it's really a lot about your deck list and about your plans. And I think this time we had like a very good one. Yeah.
Although it's kind of funny that Javier says that him top 8ing influences. How does that influence your pick when you top 8 multiple times? You still have to choose.
Well, that is true.
It doesn't take. You even had the exact same result. First after Swiss, like what's losing the quarters? It's the same result. How does the result help you decide?
Yeah, I actually think I probably did exactly the same. Yeah, well, you're right. All right.
Yeah, but maybe sometimes like you didn't play any single mirror match, you just crush your opponents, whereas with Rakdos, it was more like everyone had similar decks, so maybe your list was better, but overall, like Tron was just different, a complete different archetype, and people just, didn't expect it or thought they had a good matchup, but when they didn't, like, for example, Murktide or even Scam, I think it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, so in a way, I mean, I obviously got extremely lucky in both tournaments, but in a way, yeah, that's another way of saying it. It's like, I feel like I needed a little bit less luck to top it with Tron that the amount of luck I needed to top it with Rakdos, which both, there was a lot of luck there, let's be clear, but I feel like this. Yeah, I think that's another way of saying it.
Okay, for me, it was still a modern deck because I think that that's definitely the format I play the most. And for me, it wasn't like a big event or anything. It was a last chance qualifier on Magic Online, which let me play my first ever Mox playoff. And that was the one with Rakdos Scam. So this was just right after Lord of the Ring has been printed, and Orcish Bowmaster, and people really didn't understand how strong was Orcish Bowmaster in Modern. Like, it's funny to say right now, but like everyone thought it was going to be a bomb in Legacy. There was no doubt in that one. But in Modern, people really didn't expect the card to be good. And I remember people be like, oh wow, like, Young Dingo put Orcish Bowmaster in Rakdos Scam over Dothi Void Walker, something like that. And so, for example, if you look at my list that I 5-0'd with that last chance qualifier, I had 3 Bowmaster main one side because I didn't even know how good that card was. And, I'm sure that many other players also played like 2 of them in that in particular weekend, because there was like, I think, it was the 4th of July. I don't know when was the pre-release of The Lord of the Ring, but again, this was like me trying this card out for the first time, and yeah, super impressed. The card was fantastic, mostly to prey on the ring, and then the weekend after, there was the LMS Bologna, where Rakdos Scam won the whole thing with like putting basically just beating all the One Ring decks overall, and then now becoming the best deck for in my power rankings on Channel Fireball for 6 months until last weekend last month they banned the Fury, which now opens the metagame a little bit in regards of the best deck in Modern, and Scam isn't that one anymore. But yeah, this is my best deck for the Modern format. Just playing Scam before anyone else did was definitely a very powerful feeling. And then this deck ended up winning the Pro Tour on a different level because he wasn't playing Season Pyromancer anymore, but Fable, because Season Pyro, of course, is super bad against Orc. So, you don't want to play the mirror match when you have Orc and they in play and you just can't cast Season Pyro and various things like that. So, yeah, Rakdos Scam ended up becoming a big deal, but it was fun to play it before it was a big deal, basically.
Yeah, I have one question though here. Maybe it's a little bit off topic, but it's about Orcish Bowmasters. Once we knew how the card worked, it basically became like a far off in most decks. Do you guys think it's a far off because it's so good, or it is a far off because playing 3 is weird because it's actually good in multiples? I don't know if that's something that's easy to answer on the fly,
I
though.
think it's like. I mean, it's fine in multiples. I don't think it's not really like Fable or whatever that stacks like really well, right? Like it's just good. I
So you
would
think
say
it's his
probably.
power level?
I think it's not so much that. I would say it's just the quality of the card that is the reason that it's a 4-0.
Okay, what about you, Mango?
Yeah.
Do you agree?
So I think that being a cheap card, like maybe how to say, like if you decide that a card is like good enough that you play 3 of in your constructed deck, then I think the number 3 versus 4 depends on the mana cost. Like for example, you don't play 4 Shieldred because they are a 4-drop. So I think that if you decide that a card is good enough playing and it's a 1 or 2 drop, I think playing 4 makes sense. So if we decide that Orcish Bowmaster is just a fantastic card, legacy power level, then it should just be a 4 of, and I don't know why I thought it was a 3 of +1 in the sideboard. So
Well,
yeah.
Would you never ever register like 1 copy of a mana dork? Like, so if so cheap cards you always want to play more, right? So you would never register like 1 Jaspera Sentinel or something?
I mean, that would be like the fifth. That would be like the fifth
No,
of
no,
whatever.
no.
Like
I just mean straight up.
What they do.
Just straight up 1 Jaspera Sentinel. That's all. It's no other. It's not.
That's the story.
No, I'm not. I'm just asking whether it's a thing you do.
He's mocking me.
I'm not
Because I
mocking
played
you.
one
Can't really be mockery when I was on board with it.
Oh, that's true. Well, the talisman. I guess the new way of asking the question is
the Jaspera is just not a good card, so you play 1. This is...
Well, it's similar to Talisman of
Resilience,
Black
yeah.
Green on Tron. Yeah.
Yeah, but
So you don't play 4
I don't
because
know.
it's not good enough in the deck. That's what you mean. But you
Yeah.
play 4
Yeah.
stirrings.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, I just don't want to
I
make a
feel
rule out of
like
it.
it's all about the power level of the card, and I guess again that weekend in Modern nobody played Orcish Bowmaster because people didn't think it was like, there's no Brainstorm or Ponder, there's no reason for you to play Bowmaster, and then and then just Magic evolves and deck building evolves, and now not everyone, but Yawgmoth, Scam play 4 and they would never play 3, or even Zoo plays Orcish Bowmaster, something like that.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking. You said like they never play 3, and that's interesting, right? Because also if they play 4, I'm not sure if you would like to play less so they don't get killed, or you should play more because then you can kill the Bowmasters. It's kind of weird. Like,
Yeah.
Which means it's probably
Also-
good design, right? Like if a card presents these questions and they're not easy to answer, that's probably also good work.
Also in Scam, and I guess in Yawgmoth as well, they're good because they do something else. Like for example in Scam, what it does is you have Feign Death and Dank Malice, Not Dead After All, like effects that actually make it even better. Like you want as many enter the battlefield effect as possible because they just work well with your combat tricks or whatever. And Yawgmoth, of course, you sacrifice them to the Grist, and have a million abilities there as well. So just not just like in Legacy, for example, you play them in Grixis Delver or you play them in Blue-Black Murktide. They're just a card, a card that is good for what it does. But in these archetypes, they're even better. I mean, we're not here to explain why Orcish Bowmaster is good in Modern, I think.
No, yeah, but we're
But,
just talking about like why you like it, right? Like you like that there's like in Modern the synergy matters a little bit more than in Legacy, where like
Yeah.
it's just an incredible effect on rate. Where at Modern you need to get a little bit more out of it, which I'm not sure if that's true, but I kind of get. I
Well,
get what you're saying though. I like it. Yeah.
I was actually considering choosing Orcish Bowmaster as my favorite card of 2023, although it kind of nerfed the power level of my pet deck, which is Blue-Red Murktide. Although this past days, your teammate Stefan Schultz won the Modern PTQ with Blue-Red Murktide, so that gave me a little bit of hope.
Beacon of hope. Yes.
Yes. Yeah, you can blame
this
me
morning
because I felt like asking this question maybe was a little bit off topic, but I think it's reasonable, right?
No, it's
Because
interesting,
you see the all deck list. Sometimes you can learn things from all deck lists. So I thought this
Yeah.
was a good opportunity.
Also, like, it must be so sick, like, these weekends, these early points, where you can be the only person who has 4 Orcish Bowmaster in their deck, because you're the only one in the tournament who knows it's good, or, like, at some point, someone's the only person who has the One Ring in their deck, or the only person who knows that Shieldred is good, or the only person that knows how strong Fury is. Like, at some point, someone was the first to do these things, right? Because they weren't from the start. It must be, like, so awesome to get to be that, It seems
Yeah, I remember when someone played four copies of the One Ring in an Omnat deck at the beginning, and everyone was like, "Oh, no way you can play four the One Ring and four Omnat. Like that just must be wrong." Like, and everyone's just playing like three ring or two rings. I remember those initial. I think with Modern Horizons 2, that was the clearest though. Like the
Hmm.
deck building level of Modern Horizons 2, because like we know how you had like 20 cards that were good in Modern Horizons 2, and I mean Fury was like €10 for the first 2 months, and Grief. And this deck, Rakdos Scam, wasn't discovered until I don't know, like six months or more into the format. So it's super cool to look back in Modern and being like, why did people not think about this before?
Well, I can understand why they would not think about this scam deck. Like, it's actually extremely unintuitive. So, like, I could see
Yeah.
why it will take time. Like, I mean, actually, the first persons building this deck, they're, I mean, very good builders, because that's a good idea. Like, just to think of the Undying Evil plus Elementals plus being a mid-range deck together, that's good work.
Yeah, I remember long time ago, I played the Rakdos Scam for the first time that somebody won a challenge with. I played it in a league. I went 5-0, and in the comment, the person that won was like, you could have like turn one Fury against like Tron or whatever. I don't remember who I played against. Like, why didn't you do it? I'm like, what do you mean turn one Fury? Like, I didn't
Huh?
even think that was a possibility. Like, I didn't have the
What?
idea, the concept that Fury could have been scammed on turn one with no targets.
Oh.
Because that was just something that nobody has ever done before. Like, you scam Grief or Ephemerate Grief, sure, because you get the ATB, but
Yeah.
Fury, just like a dude 4/4 death, double strike. That's not easy to think of.
Let's
All right,
see.
maybe we should keep going with the Mango questions.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, let's keep on going. But again, this is super cool to go down in memory lane of the 2023 that happened, and definitely Rack the Scam was uh, the biggest deal of the year. Okay, so now we have another one that isn't necessarily tied about cards, but it's more about events, or as I call it, memory. What is your best memory of 2023? Let's just say Magic related. If you um,
You
this
first,
one,
right?
I have an answer ready,
Mm-hmm.
so I guess I can start now. And this was for me the top 8 run of my friend Christian Calcano. We talked about Proto Lord of the Rings before. We haven't talked about him, but Christian Calcano, alongside with Marco Del Pivo and Dominic Harvey, were both in my team, and in particular, Pivo and Calc are two great friends of mine. And seeing them in the top 8 of a elite event like this was just fantastic. And despite we all know Kalk and everything, this was just his second PT top 8, so he was definitely yeah, it was just incredible for me. Also, I was chosen by Wizards to do the live commentary at the Magicon Barcelona, which is something that I haven't done before. So like I was actually commentating in front of, I don't know, hundreds of people. It was super emotional moments for me, and those will remain my best memory. Even though, of course, I had some personal success, like the Vegas GP thing, or some the RC top 4 and everything. But at this point, just celebrating a great friend of mine wins. Uh, I don't know. It feels like more special than my own success, because he did something that, yeah, I was just able to celebrate with. Whereas, you know how when you play, you can't really celebrate too much. Maybe at the end when you win, but sometimes, like, I am still too much, how do you say, nerfed by my emotion to be able to celebrate properly, even after the success. But actually seeing your friend like draw step after draw step, and like you could celebrate when he found the line with the Aware Might killing its own ring, and you could scream when the opponent went Doty Void Walker into Grief to take Dulamog. Just made that whole like hour of show the best memory of 2023 for me.
Yeah, it sounds awesome, honestly. I definitely get what you mean by, like, like a lot of the time after an event, like, yeah, you don't fully process it immediately. I think that's kind of what you're getting at, right? You're talking about maybe not nerf was maybe not the right, maybe like numb. Is that what you meant? Like a bit numb.
Numb,
maybe.
but yeah, the perfect word.
Yeah,
Yes.
I definitely get it. Yeah, like and Calc is kind of the everyman, right? Like everybody loves Calc, and I think it kind of everyone can relate to him. I think that's the thing. Like it doesn't matter like whether you're at one of the hashtag elitist pros or like whether you're just like a regular person at FNM or like a grinder. You can probably relate to Calc, right? And that's not true for very many people in the Magic world. I think just everybody can love Calc, so like it's a really good hero to get behind. But for me personally, I would say Calc was probably not my favorite pick to win in this top 8, because I'm a very loyal podcast co-host. So I was obviously rooting for Javier more, but if it wasn't for Javier, I think Calc. Everybody would want to vote for Calc to win, right?
So in Javier's defense, when I woke up, like Javier, Pivo, they had already lost basically. The round one finished so quickly that when I arrived at the location, the Calc had already won against Kai Buddha 3-0. Pivo had already lost 3-1 against Jake Bursley, and I think Javier, did you also lose 3-1 or 3-0?
Yeah, it was fast. It was fast.
Yeah, so when I arrived, I didn't even have time to root for Javier, Pivo, and Kai.
Nice.
Next time I will try to play longer in a top 8, if there is another top 8.
Yeah.
You always say if there's another
for
one.
sure.
We'll see.
I think there'll be another one, Javier. Just statistically.
Yeah, I don't know that. We'll see.
We'll see. Okay.
All right, so yeah, this was my best memory. What about you, Anthony?
I guess for me, like I don't know, it's been like a lot, right? Because I definitely agree with what you say. Like it actually feels easier to celebrate in someone else's wins because of that emotional balance, I would say. And Javier has given me many opportunities to be happy for his wins because he wins a lot. But I guess I have to pick making the top 8 and then top 4 worlds. It was just the event was just so much fun for me. I loved all of my opponents so much. I was having a great time. It was also it was also kind of wild that it was the one time that Javier had he had declared it to be so. He said you will top 8 this one. And I did, and I was like, man, he's some kind of witch or something. This is weird. This is just weird. He just knows. But yeah, I mean, like for me, this was
in my defense, I'm not the kind of guy that says this every tournament.
He doesn't. Yeah, that's why it was weird. He's never said that before. And this time, he was just like, "Yeah, it's this one." I mean, yeah, he's just a witch. I mean, we can claim that there's some more rational explanation, like he had like an actual reason or whatever. But I prefer to just call Javier a witch because that's the vibe, that I get from this. But yeah, it was my first big result, I think. And it was really great. It was very gratifying. Like at the time, it was, kind of. It took a little while to sink in, but getting all that support from people afterward was really, made me feel good. I guess I was very happy to hear all that, and I was happy. I was very happy to be able to validate Javier's prediction. So it was good. Yeah. Not that much to say about it. I guess I top 4 a big tournament, and I was happy. But other than that, like, Javier, like, getting back-to-back first was just incredible. Like, outside of, like, my own things, like, each of our teams, like, super dominant performances this year after PT Phyrexia was, I don't know, I'm very proud of our team, I think. Probably more so than of anything I've done myself, because we just kind of killed it. So, if I could pick, maybe I would pick the whole team's performance over the year, maybe that worked. I mean, that's not really one memory, but that's how I feel about the events overall.
Yeah, I mean, my memory was going to be this one, like the Anthony top 8, but it's, I guess, yeah, like, Mengu asked us to think of memory, and that's the first one that came to my mind, like that's how you can, like, that's how I actually think it's easy to tell the memory. Because the first thing that comes to your mind is the one that actually, But yeah, I mean, other than that, for me, the second one is the PT top 8 of March of the Machines. Because it is true that I had to top 8 this year. But the first one was the one where I, got to scream the most, because it was the one of like, well, maybe I can still do it. Because, Anthony believes in me, but I don't believe in me as much. And this one had this, addition of like this meaning of like, well, maybe I can still be good enough in Magic to make top 8s and such, and
Definitely.
that's what made this one special in that regard. Also, Mengu told me he could hear me celebrating from the other side of the room as well. If you remember that, Mengu.
Yeah, I remember. I was battling in my like 6-9 bracket, and I was able to come to watch you immediately as you finished screaming. Yeah, it was. I know. I mean, I was wandering around and I heard somebody screaming. I turned around. It was like this like big guy in the red hoodie. It was Javier in most tournaments, and he just beat you beat the Nathan Stoyer, right?
Yeah, and then also winning, seeing Nathan win the tournament, celebrating it. Like it's been a very intense year, so definitely a lot of
Nathan
memories.
won Pro Tour.
Yeah, exactly.
Pro Tour Pyrrhex.
Exactly.
It was
He ended winning the PT. Yeah, no, Pro Tour March of the Machines.
He top 8'd the PSPT. He won this one.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right. Sorry, I got confused.
And yeah, I mean, it's been a great year, but yeah, those are the first memories that actually came to my mind.
Yeah. The definitely a great year. What about Pro Tour Pyrrhex Show 1? Do you guys, because I wasn't there, I wasn't even at the Magic Con. Do you guys had any like memory that was like the first Pro Tour after COVID? Like anything that you want to share now?
Well,
because we talked plenty of the other three. So.
Yeah, go ahead, Anthony.
Yeah, I mean that Pro Tour. I mean the event itself didn't go as well. First, like Javier did well. Our team didn't do that well in that PT, but it was so much fun. Like to return to, like for me, the memories of that Pro Tour are not related as much to the Pro Tour, even though we did have Nate top 8 and Javier top 16. It was way more about the experience of returning to Paper Magic for me. Like that was like the return of the tabletop Pro Tour. That's what Pro Tour Phyrexia was to me. Like it was huge, and the return of things like the testing houses. That was like a great experience to finally meet people like PV. That's kind of, it was awesome. I really enjoyed it, and it was kind of a confirmation that competitive Magic is really back. Right, that was Pro Tour Phyrexia is a little below what near the bottom, up a little bit more. There you go.
Yeah, it was quite a tournament. Also, yeah, I remember. I mean, it was the first paper PT in a while, and yeah, for me, it was a little bit like Anthony, where it was just like, it's good to be back in a way. Like we went back to competitive Magic, getting all these PT feelings. When you start a PT, it's always unique, and yeah, even if the tournament didn't go very well for me either, it was very fun, and yeah, just getting to meet all these people. And I mean, we actually started to have these bonds with the team that actually went to work so well in the future, right? The future, which is now, and that's also an important moment. At least personally, I think it was an important moment for me. And well, it was the time where Anthony thought we might play the different deck.
Yeah, that didn't happen. Also, classic Javier, but I'm just gonna call Javier out here. The tournament didn't go that well for me. Hey, Mango, can you scroll down? Oh, look, it's Javier Dominguez in 19th place. A classic tournament not going that well for you.
And it's also a tournament where I remember being I think I was at 1-2. I think.
Yeah, you did with the Vraska.
Yeah. I also had like a very good deck, and it went 0-2. I remember my opponent, because it was open deck list. I remember my opponent in match 3 looking at the deck list, looking at me like, like what's this? Yeah, and I remember being like 1-2, whatever, or 2-2, and being like, well, this is. I mean, okay, keep in mind, I was not qualified for anything, right? And I barely qualified for PT Phyrexia. So my approach was like, this could easily be my last PT ever. I'm just gonna have fun and just enjoy the games as much as I can, and just that's it. Think of nothing else. Like take off a little bit of pressure. I usually play, or used to play, with a lot of pressure on myself, playing PTs and such, like in terms of competition. I just went more like, I'm just going to enjoy this and just talk to people in between rounds, which, that's something I never used to do before. It was a different PT for me compared to all the PTs before, which related to the memory of PT Minneapolis, where I made the top 8 and it felt like that good. And yeah, this was a PT where I went like, let's have fun. And I eventually came back to a decent finish. It's better, Anthony. Decent is good.
Yes.
Yeah, but it was.
I was thinking
that's a good memory, also.
Yeah.
Didn't you guys also play in the 2-2 bracket in Barcelona?
Yep.
We
That's when you
played
said.
in it.
Yeah, when he mentioned the Tron mirror, I was like, yeah, Javier definitely did play a Tron mirror. It was so
Yeah, we
sick.
played the Tron Mirror. Yeah, I think it was
But
2
weren't
2
you in
or
the
3-2. I don't know. 2
yeah
2. It was not
like
very
in the
high.
Yeah.
low tables? Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't horrible.
Well, tournaments, it's about how they end, not about how they start.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. I remember a judge walking past and like not being sure if we were supposed to be there because it looked like we were just playing a casual game in the Pro Tour hall because they were like, this is not very serious vibes. Like,
And I casually mulligan to 4 or to 3 and turn 3 Karnies.
yeah, it was so good as well. Like he drew his first 3 and then like drew his fourth card. It's like keep. I was like, all right.
Yeah. It was a good tournament. Honestly, all tournaments
Yeah,
have
it really
been,
was.
Yeah, they've been good.
Yeah, just
What's your favorite event of the
Just,
year, Mengu? For you?
my favorite event of the year was okay, outside of the Four Seasons, which will always be my favorite event of the year. Something I would never miss, but yeah, let's stay in the competitive realm here. For me personally, the one that I played was the GP Sealed in Vegas. Like I practiced a lot for that one with the guys, with the team World Accounts that I joined in Barcelona, and yeah, I ended up just top 8ing at 1,500 people. 1,500 people event, qualifying to the next BT, which I kind of gave up on. I wasn't even going to play at the regional championship, and yeah, so that was kind of a surprise. I would say that I enjoy playing competitive Magic, definitely do, but I have I spend way less time on it now than I did in the past. So if you guys are still like, testing primarily for PT as like your first like main thing, I changed now, so I don't do that anymore. So being able to still do that, because I tested like 2 weeks fully on that one, was very satisfying. Like I could still do something that I thought I wasn't even going to try anymore on. So yeah, that is personally my success. And my goal for 2024 will be to do well at PT Chicago and hopefully to qualify for the next one. But it's definitely hard with all the other project that I have, and maybe now we can segue into the what to improve and a good. What's the word exactly? Good intention? Oh, good resolution. Okay, I have it. Yeah,
yes.
write this down.
Yep.
42. Okay, I'll continue. I have it as a 2024 resolution of next year to be able to be a successful YouTuber, because I'll be starting. I have this new project which I've been hinting a lot on recently, but haven't officially talked about it yet. And it is the new YouTube channel that I'll be starting. So next year I'm gonna be finally playing Paper Magic as my YouTube channel, and that is gonna be my biggest project. I hope it's going to have a great success. I hope to reach a ton of views and subscribers and so on. So that will be my personal 2024 year's resolution. And if I do well at the Pro Tours and etc., qualify to Worlds, that's fantastic. But my priorities are definitely changed since the before COVID days.
Damn, that's
What about you, Anthony?
That's hype. I don't know. I think that's cool though. Like it's something distinct, and I'm kind of excited to see because Mengu's always like loved Paper Magic more than online Magic. He likes Magic Online, and he doesn't like Arena that much, but he like has always loved Paper Magic, right? That's where a lot of his passion for Magic comes. So seeing Mengu actually actually translate that into what he wants to do, I think it's awesome, right? So I don't know. I guess I wanted to say that before I talk about what I would think about for a 2024 resolution. I don't know. I'm not really into like New Year's resolutions. I'm just like, if I want to do something, I would just do that. Like, why would I gate it behind a year?
Well, you can think of like what do you want to improve for next season, and because seasons actually matter. So
yeah, okay.
that's another way
all right.
of framing it. Yeah.
Okay, in that case, in terms of like what to improve as a player, or just in general, or
It's your answer. There's not a wrong answer.
Wow, this is, I don't know. I guess as a player, I mean, there are obviously aspects that I would want to improve on, but I'm very happy to kind of just keep doing what we've been doing. I would love for our team to keep. I want to contribute as much as I can to our team, and I'm very happy doing that at all levels of the game. Right, like I felt really involved trying to help out for the most recent American RC. I feel like I would be really well doing that going forward. I'm very happy to keep helping out for all the pro tours. I want my team to do as well as possible, including and especially Javier, I guess. So yeah, I'm not sure if I mean, in terms of like what I would want to improve as a player, that's like a whole other thing. That's like kind of long and technical.
Okay. I have something that maybe your answer, of course, feel free to disagree with this, but maybe you want to improve to like travel more outside of just the tournaments, because I know that for the PT Chicago, you're going to stay around a lot more, right? So that could be something that I know that you talked about. Yeah.
Oh, I'm actually going to do that, yes.
Discord about
I'm definitely going to do that.
Traveling and etc. So that could be like, I mean, for me personally, I'd love to like travel more and stay around. Like I believe that you come before Chicago for like 1 week and a half, and then you stay furthermore. So it's pretty cool, right?
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about it. Yes, that is something that I'm going to do. I mean, I don't know, because I didn't think of it as a resolution, because it's a thing that I already decided I was going to do, and it feels like a resolution has to be a thing that you're. I'm not really sure, but yes, you're right. That is something I'm going to do. That it's something that I wanted to do before, didn't do, and I'm going to do now. So I guess that works.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
you knew my answer all along, even before I did.
No.
No, it's true though.
I had this. Yeah, I was thinking about it, but I didn't know.
You're right though. All right, Javier.
I mean, it's a tricky question, but I do think like I have some aspects to improve as a player specifically. I mean, on a personal level, I'm very happy where I am in terms of Magic. I think I have a decent balance between how much I enjoy the game and playing for fun and how much I try to compete well. So I will hope that to stay the same, but it's kind of weird to say this, but I would like to work a little bit more on the technical level. Like I felt like this year I could have technically played better, also known as playing better, but not the specific, not playing better like overall, but just like working more once again on playing the game well, supposed to like playing to understand the formats and the such, which I think you have to. Usually when I test, I go in one of the directions. Either I'm playing to understand or to learn, and I was like, well, it's better to use the time to actually understand things better. But now I feel like I should go back a little bit to that. Like I should go at least through one or two. Like I think of those as muscle up periods where you just draft a bunch. I know Anthony did this recently. Like I think I have to do this once or twice next season once I find time. Not too much, because overdoing this might actually create some burnout situations, but I think I should focus a little bit on that, because even though this year was great, decks were great, teammates were great, but I think my technical play got a little bit, it could be better in some small situations, and I'm not particularly happy about those. And they're like the kind of situations where I didn't play very well because maybe I didn't play enough to make sure I'm sharp playing. So that's something I want to try to improve a little bit. And also a little bit of the mental game as well. I made so many mistakes that were not only maybe technical mistakes, but also like mental game mistakes, where I will be not as focused in the things that will matter in certain situations. Some matches come to mind, and I think that's something I have to work on. It's not very easy, but I'm gonna really try my best, and make sure Anthony can keep making fun of me every time I say this could be my last PT.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I think I'm very much in the same boat. Like, but it's just something that I feel like we've just constantly been working at. Like, it didn't feel new, but you're right. Like, it's definitely something that we all could, or especially for both of us, to keep working on. Right, like just improving as players, because we've definitely had holes, and I don't know, it's kind of sick as well that we had like such a great year as a whole, but then we still know that we did stuff that we could have done better, right? And that's again something that we really love about competitive Magic, I think. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. Yeah, I think we have quite a bit to do.
I'm gonna say it in another way. I'm gonna say in a way where other people maybe it's get it easier. It's like imagine we're a sports player, like soccer player or whatever, and I think I was a little bit short on cardio this year, if that makes sense. You know, like I feel we worked a lot and very well on this sport specifically, but maybe we needed a little, or I personally needed a little bit more of like overall strength in terms of like playing the game. That's maybe a way I will phrase it better, so it's easier to understand.
Yeah, an analogy. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it's something that we've thought about before. I didn't want to get too into it because I was afraid that it's a really, really deep topic. The differentiation that we draw between training as players and just testing for formats. But yeah, absolutely.
That's the answer, Mengu. The official answer.
That's the official answer. Okay,
yeah.
Thank you.
It's a good one.
All right. What about content creation? Do you guys plan on doing something next year, or just stick to the podcast, which is, of course, dedication. Every Tuesday, usually afternoon, we record. Plus, we have our Patreon where a lot of people ask us things. So, that's also creating some content, answering here and there. Do you plan on doing something like you did last year, or either this year, or more?
I mean, we will do more than we did last year, I would say. I don't know if we
Okay.
I don't know if we can. I don't think we can address specifics yet, but yes, we will do more than we did last year.
A little bit
Nice,
more,
nice.
and on
Yeah,
top
not a
of
lot
that,
more.
I will also
Yeah.
try to sneak a Spanish stream or two. I like to do this once in a while. I actually wanted to do some on Christmas, and I actually still plan to do one on Christmas. But Christmas in Spain lasts until 6th of January, so it's
Wow.
about time.
Why do you get so much Christmas?
Because we do like long festivities. It's like the country stops in August, like the whole country stops in
But did you
August.
say
and we
August?
also yeah, it's like we like long festivities, long holiday periods. That's it. We have this tradition of the 3 wise men on 6th January. So basically, holidays go from 24 to 7. Like 7 people go back to work. Some people.
Oh, okay, from 24 to
not everyone has the full 2 week stop, but like
Sorry,
kids do, for example.
I misunderstood. I thought you were saying that your Christmas was from August to January.
No.
I was like,
no.
what?
I mean, no. I meant like we like long holidays, like in
Okay.
in Spain. Like the whole August is like you go to places and things are whatever because it's
Right,
August.
right.
So here is the same. Like you go to a place now and maybe it's closed because it's 28 or whatever. So yeah.
Damn. Okay. Wow.
Yeah, no, definitely. If you have an excuse to do a festivity with some religion festivities in the middle as an excuse, that is the perfect Italian and Spanish way to just think about life, not just working every day, but thinking about the festivities. Like you have those to release you from the work of everyday life.
Yeah, but other than that, like definitely my goal is still going to be being a Magic player, like being as much competitive as I can, like as good as I can
Competitive,
be.
yeah.
Definitely,
course.
even if I do a little bit more content, it's still always going to be something I do when I don't have to compete, like when I have a PT or whatever. It's never never gonna be like saying, okay, I'm not gonna test for the PT because I'm gonna make this content. So it's still gonna have this hierarchy where competition goes first.
Yeah, but I'm sure that the Rakdos video that you made after the PT Piraksha or the Tron article or Anthony's Golgari guide, very much appreciated, and just wanted to say that it's cool that content creator aren't just content creator, but also pro players that happen to want to make content. And I think as a competitive player that wants to consume content from actual pro player is super cool, because as much as I do it, I know that sometimes the content that I put out is just not as valuable as yours after a premiere event where we test countless of hours for. So there's definitely a difference between these things.
I don't know. I mean, that's very subjective. I mean, value is. I mean, I don't think I would say that. I don't. I mean, I think what we have to say might be more valuable to specific people who are looking for specific things. But I mean, I just wouldn't say that's overall more or less valuable. I mean,
it's different. It's like a whole different thing.
I just don't think.
Right? Like
I just would not frame it that way. Yeah.
like I can agree the guide that I make after a PT is it has more insight in the matter, but it doesn't make it more valuable or better. It just makes a different product. It's like, a book that says more things is not necessarily a better book than another one that says less things but say them better.
Well, it's just more of a
I'm just
textbook.
saying.
Like, I don't know.
Exactly.
Like, a textbook is better if you want to learn, but like not everybody wants to read a textbook, Like, that doesn't make a textbook better. It only makes it better if you want that. If you want a
People
textbook.
just want to have a cyber guide.
Sometimes, yeah, like maybe that's true. Yeah, I don't know. Like that's actually a thing, right?
Yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah, for real.
Yeah, they don't want to read an 80 pages guide about the deck. They just want to have a cyber guide about the deck.
Yeah, like if you want to play a tournament and have fast information, long, complex deck guide is not for you, and a fast cyber guide is what you need, and those are different things, and they have different moments and different content consumers. So there's no better.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I specialized in the quick deck guides rather than the deep reasons why you would play one chromatic star versus.
Yeah, but it's something a lot of people want, So we need both.
No.
Yeah.
For sure. I'll continue to make cyber guide about stock decks for next year. That will not change, and I think that also one thing they do that is super fun, and I'm so happy to do it every month. It's the power rankings. So it's the end of December. So yesterday I made the power rankings for Chant Fireball. I made that 20-25 minutes video explaining everything that I have to say, and it was for me super cool. Like that's one of my honestly just coolest project that I started doing. I think it was actually started in 2022, but I'm definitely super happy about that. And Channel Fireball gave me the platform for, and so stay tuned for the monthly power rankings.
I like it. I'm a fan of the power rankings. Like a lot of people like it, but I also like it. It's a very graphic thing, a very graphic way of seeing the formats. If you're not following them too much, and even if you're following, you can be like, "Oh, I don't agree with this," and it's still fun to look at it. So keep going.
Yeah, it's also like something. It's definitely hard to come up with the exact this is better than that type of list.
Yeah, I think we're good. Do you have any other Christmas wishes or any other special thing to say about?
It's the 28th. We're recording this on the 28th. You can't make Christmas wishes on the 20th. That's not how Christmas works. Oh yeah.
It is Christmas in Spain, so here, from my chair, it is Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Well,
Merry Christmas, Mango. Merry Christmas, all the listeners from Spain, where it's still Christmas.
You still have all the Christmas tree and a Christmas decoration.
We do.
Take down.
We do until 7.
You will stop celebrating Christmas.
Yeah.
Like, Christmas isn't just a day. It's just a season,
It is.
I
I
guess.
went for a walk today, and it was like all the trees and all the lights. Like, they're gonna be there until 7. So Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I want to say here, like, I'm very excited for next season. Actually, it's a friend of mine joked with me like 2 days ago. They were like, "Javier, that's too many months for you without a PT," and I actually agree. And I'm just very excited to just start working. And I've been playing a little bit less of Magic last month, but now I'm like
gearing up. Good to know.
I am. I have the fire ready for you, Anthony. I am. I can't wait to play a bunch and lose to all different decks. Yeah, that's it.
That's how we do it.
Yeah, that's my Christmas message. I want to play Magic.
Did you guys see the graphic about enjoying Magic? I think we all interacted with it on Twitter.
Did we?
About how fun is Magic to play on one side of the graphic and skill at Magic.
Oh, I didn't interact with this.
This graphic.
Oh, because you never interact, so it's...
You interacted on Discord.
Oh, yeah, I didn't interact with this on Twitter because there's no dislike button. That's why. That's right.
But yeah, apparently a lot of people like this because I guess because it's common to dunk on professional Magic players, and but anyway.
And I don't think this is dunking, right? This is more like saying that if you want to get very good at Magic, you actually will enjoy the game less. Well,
no, the way I read it is more like, oh, pro players don't enjoy Magic; they just do it for money.
I don't even think that. I just think, I don't know. I think they just don't really get it. I don't know. Like, there's just no reason it should be like this. Like, I think you could probably guess that based on, you know, the Levine Trench. I think is a real thing where like there's a certain level at which there's a lot more toxic behavior, but I just don't really think that applies to how much you enjoy it at the end. And I don't know.
Well,
I
it's
just
more
think
like
it's
I
not
think,
true.
I think
what is there to say? I think
like
it's
if
made
you
up.
ask, if you ask someone on the very high percentage of like skill in Magic or whatever, like 0.01% or what, I'm pretty sure they will not agree with this graph, because you never, like, I don't think you ever get to be extremely good at the game if you don't enjoy it. You just cannot. Like, how are you gonna get so high in the skill level if you hate it? Like, it just doesn't, Magic doesn't work that way.
You would just
I will
leave.
say.
Like, none of us are
like,
doing it
you
for the
just-
money. Like, we could all do other things.
I
if we
just
wanted.
think this graphic is, I think it's fun / decent Twitter content or whatever, but I think it's just like, could not be, like, it's just not true. Yeah.
Why is it fun? I don't get it.
Anyway, yeah.
Because
Anyway, with all that fun,
it enhances conversations for people. They're like, oh, this thing, another thing, all of these things that Anthony does not like. Yeah.
That's just me, though. It's not really representative.
we will keep on having fun in Magic, hopefully raising the skill at Magic and the fun of Magic line, like, you know, going this way. But that's going to be it for this episode. And I guess for 2023, shall we?
Yeah. See you
Sounds
next
good.
year. Someone
Yeah.
had to make the joke, and, you know, it had to be me, I guess.
That makes-
see you
it
next
kinda
year.
good.
Yeah, and also, I want to say also that you can join the Patreon at patreon.com/Karnies to join the Discord. And that's it. Happy 2024, I guess.
Thank you very much for listening, everybody.